what is your favorite season?
Awards.
Happy New Year, and welcome to our first ever installment of Parker's Awards of Excellence, Novelty, Glamour, Uniqueness, Innovation, and Notoriety. Damn, that was a mouthful. Which shall hereby and henceforth be known as the Penguin Awards. I've been wanting to do an award style show on the channel forever. The idea of looking back on the past year and honoring the best of the best and the not so best of the best has always seemed like a fun idea to me, so I'm really happy to be able to come on here and bring that dream into reality. We have over 50 awards to give out tonight, and I just want to give a shout out to everyone who reached out to me on social media to suggest some categories. I tried to incorporate as many as I could, but we have a really good mix of awards for you tonight. Now, I do have a few ground rules. In order for something to qualify for an award, it must be something that I've personally experienced in 2023. So if you think there's something that might have gotten snubbed, chances are I just haven't experienced it in the past year. Or you have bad taste. Just kidding. But either way, whether you disagree with me or not, or if you've experienced something different, I want you to comment down below and tell me what you would give for each categories. It would be so fun to have everyone play along. Even if you don't do all of them, maybe pick your favorite awards and tell me what you would give for them. Anyways, we are going to jump right into it. So without any further ado, let the first annual Penguins begin. Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Like I said, we have a lot of awards to get through tonight, and I tried to break them up into some general, broad categories. So the first few awards we're going to hand out are looking at things from beyond the theme park. So obviously this channel has a lot to do with roller coasters and the theme park community, but I like to do some other things outside of the parks as well. So that's what these awards are all about. Kicking things off for the evening is the Support Local Award for the Best Small Business. Now, I think it is so important to support small businesses. I try to do it as much as I can, and there's one that I think has risen to the top, and that is Wicked Wanda's Wonderful Wares. They specialize in natural health and beauty products with a bit of a magical twist, and I've encountered them at the Krampus is Coming Christmas market. They have always been such a delight, and I even ran a giveaway with some of their products recently. So Wicked Wanda's Wonderful Wares, congratulations on receiving the first penguin of the night. Next up, we have the Breath of Fresh Air Award for the best hiking trail or natural area. Now this is a tough one because I have gone to a few interesting, more natural attractions over the past year, but the one that we're going to give the penguin to today is Coral Caverns, which is a show cave located in Man's Choice, Pennsylvania. This cave is famous for featuring the fossilized remains of an ancient coral reef, and I believe it's one of the only fossilized coral reefs that you can find within a cave. So yeah, it is definitely one of the most intriguing places that I got to visit in 2023. Next up is the All Is Fair Award for the best fair or festival. And this one was a no-brainer. I am giving this penguin to the Norfolk County Fair and Horse Show in Simcoe, Ontario. This is my home county fair. I've gone to this fair every single year since I was a kid, and I continue to love visiting because it's just a great way to see rides, to see food, to see some different vendors. They just put on the pride of Norfolk County in full display, and it's a good way to kind of keep in touch with my roots. Our next award is the Exhibit A+ Award for the best exhibit or convention. And my shirt's a bit of a giveaway for this one because I'm going to give the penguin to the Disney 100 exhibit, which I got to experience at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. This exhibit was a fascinating look at the past 100 years of Disney history, from the film studios to the parks to Disney on Broadway and beyond. They had concept art, ride vehicles, original screen use props, you name it. It was so cool, and being able to visit it was a Disney lover's dream. Alright, our final award for this category is the Hidden Gem Award for the best local attraction. And winning their second penguin for the night is the Norfolk County Fair and Horse Show. So I've already gone over why I love the fair so much, but the reason why I decided to ultimately give them this penguin is because the fairgrounds themselves, of course, as host to the fair, but they also do Christmas markets. They host concerts throughout the year. They have a farmer's market. It really is the heart of Norfolk County. So again, I'm very honored to be able to bestow this award upon them. All right, our next category of awards is all about food and drinks, both within and outside of the theme parks. And our first award here is the Eagle Eats Award for the Best American Snack. And this was a tough one because obviously we have our classics like Fritos Twists, there's like the Hershey chocolates that I always like to get, but ultimately I've decided to give the penguin to the Baked Apple Croissant from Starbucks. I am so jealous of American Starbucks that they got the sweet treat and our Canadian ones didn't, because they are so good. And anytime that I was in the States during the fall season, I had to have one. Next up is the Vegan Ally Award for the best vegetarian or vegan item. Now, just to clarify some things, I am not vegan myself. I do love my meats and I love my dairy, but I do try to incorporate vegetarian and vegan items into my diet when I can. I like to have a nice healthy balance, and my friend Mitch calls me a vegan ally because of this. But anyways, I am giving this penguin to the Anti-Warrior Bowl at the Hardy Hooligan, which is this all-vegan restaurant in Hamilton, Ontario. I don't think I actually featured it on the channel, but I did make a post about it on my Instagram. But for those of you who don't know, the Hardy Hooligan basically takes vegan food and just bastardizes it. Like, it is like the heaviest, like truest comfort food that you can find in a plant-based form. And the Anti-Warrior Bowl had mac and cheese, plant-based beef, and Doritos were incorporated in there. It was so heavy and so filling, but so freaking good. Plus the Hardy Hooligan itself had a really fun punk rock atmosphere. It is just a fun place to visit. And if you want to try some good vegan food, I highly recommend going. All right, next up is the Boozy Thuzy Award for the best adult beverage. And I think it goes without saying that this one goes to the Mistletoe Mojito, which was part of the Winterfest menu at Canada's Wonderland. This yummy cocktail featured a blend of lime and cranberry juice mixed in with some Malibu rum. It had this very nice sugar rim. And of course, all of the Wonderland cocktails are adorned with a skewer of gummy candies. So the taste was excellent, it was super sweet, and it was also cute. So it was ultimately the perfect package of what you wanted in a fun holiday beverage. Next up is the Immerse Your Taste Buds Award for the best themed food or drink item. And having been to so many cool theme parks this year, I did get to try my fair share of meals that had a fun theme that tied into the land or to a certain attraction. But this year, the penguin goes to the Wildcats Revenge King Size Shake from Hershey Park. Now, the King Size Shakes are already pretty iconic, but the fact that they made a special one to honor their new RMC hybrid Wildcats Revenge was too perfect. This insane creation had a chocolate milkshake base, a maple bacon waffle, red Twizzlers to look like the Wildcats Revenge track, and a chocolate cookie stick. Our next award of the night is the Holiday for Your Taste Buds Award for the best seasonal food or drink item. So this category is a little different from our last one, which is for a themed item. This award is honoring those items that only appeared at certain times of the year, whether it was for a festival or for something like Haunt or Winterfest. But this year, the penguin goes to the Burnt Ends Monster Sandwich from Lazy Bear Lodge at Canada's Wonderland. First of all, the sandwich itself was really good. Like, it was just a solid burnt ends sandwich. But the reason why it went so viral is because it featured these green brioche buns that kind of looked weird. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, that can't taste very good. But it was actually so great. And I got to pair it with the roasted vegetable fall salad, which was also very yummy. And honestly, it was among my favorite meals that I've had from Canada's Wonderland all season. Next up is the Paper Plate Award for the best overall theme park meal. Again, there's lots of different ways I could have gone with this one, but ultimately there's one dish that rose above the rest, and that is the steak slices and corn ribs from the Farmhouse at Cedar Point. The Farmhouse might be one of my favorite theme park restaurants out there to begin with, but the steak and the corn combo is perfection. Mike and I first tried this when we visited the park back in 2022, and we were thinking about it the entire off season. So when we returned for opening day of 2023, it was a no-brainer. We had to have this meal again, and it was so yummy. And I mean, it's corn.
It's cold. A big open arms.
I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. Our final award in the food and drink category is the Golden Plate Award, and this time we're looking for the best overall restaurant. So this can be in a theme park, outside of a theme park, whatever, and the penguin goes to the 360 restaurant at the top of the CN Tower. The food here was way better than I was expecting. It was of a little bit of a classier and fancier caliber than I think I've ever had before, but it was so good. Their menu rotates throughout the season, so every time you go, there might be something new for you to try. And I mean, come on, you're pairing good food with that 360 panoramic view of downtown Toronto. For those of you who don't know, if you sit on a table on the outside of the restaurant, you're going to rotate around the entire tower throughout the course of your meal. Plus, tickets to the CN Tower are very expensive as it is, but if you pair it with the restaurant, your admission to the observation deck is included. So although it still is an expensive meal, you are getting better value if you pair your visit to the CN Tower with the food. All right, this next category is all about merch and shopping. And our first award here is the Treasure Trove Award for the best merch shop at a theme park. Now, I kind of hesitated on this one, whether I should give it to a more permanent fixture or if I could break the rules a bit and give it to a seasonal one. But ultimately, I decided to do the latter because this year's penguin goes to the Halloween boutique at Canada's Wonderland. I mean, come on, the actual items at the shop were super cool. You had this fantastic array of Halloween decor, you had the haunt-specific merch, you had some Wonderland-specific merch, and the atmosphere in there was so cool. They really leaned into that gothic, spooky atmosphere. And I mean, the photo op on the throne is so iconic. Like, if you didn't get a picture on the throne, did you really visit Halloween Haunt?
I think not!
Next up is the Fabulous Fridge Award for the Best Magnet of the Year. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a big fan of getting magnets from the theme parks. They're relatively cheap, they're small, so they won't take up too much room in your suitcase. And then when you get home, you just slap them on the fridge, so they also don't really take up too much room in your house. They are perfect for me, and I love collecting them. And this year, the penguin for the best magnet goes to the Worlds of Fun 50th Anniversary Magnet. The reason why I chose to highlight this wooden magnet is because it beautifully features the park skyline as well as the iconic hot air balloon logo soaring over the park. And as I mentioned, it honors the park's 50th anniversary. And I love magnets that highlight special events and anniversaries like this. So yeah, as soon as I saw it, it was a very easy purchase for me. And our final award in this category is the Prized Possession Award for my favorite item purchased of 2023. And the penguin goes to the Disney 100 Mickey ears. Now, these Mickey ears are very different from the ones that you can find out in the parks. These were specific to the Disney 100 exhibit in Philadelphia. I love how it uses the silver on the ears and in the main font on the hat part. But yeah, this is only my second pair of Mickey ears that I've ever owned. The other ones being the Disney World 50th Anniversary Mickey ears that Mike and I got on our last visit. So it's kind of cool that both sets that I own are honoring such a significant milestone. Alrighty, our next category of the evening is all about entertainment, events, and characters. And we're going to kick things off with the Shining Star Award for the coolest character or mascot. And this one I've decided to award to the Ivy Crow from Indiana Beach. Now, this may be a controversial pick because at least as far as I know, I don't think you can actually meet the Ivy Crow walking out and about in the park, but he is such an iconic figure for the park. All of the locals and enthusiasts know about him, and I mean, there are a few little like photo ops that you can take with his likeness, but I just thought he was a really cool character who was deserving of some recognition. So, Ivy Crow, caca, and congratulations. Next up is the Hell's Hero Award for Best Haunt Monster of 2023. And this was a tough one, not just because I feared that the other monsters would come for me, but because I genuinely made so many awesome connections with some scare actors this year. I mean, every scare actor that I encountered was giving it 100%. They are what makes these haunt events come to life. But there was one that is definitely deserving of this award, and that is Calamity the Clown from Carnival at Canada's Wonderland's Halloween Haunt. She's kind of a new character this year, but also a returning character. If you watch my Halloween Haunt vlogs, you'll know that her Aunt Lucille was a character that I loved meeting in the past, but she took some years off. But now Calamity is here, and I just had so much fun connecting with her and being scared by her. So Calamity, congratulations. It was so great to see you this year. And I hope you can return to Carnival in 2024. On the flip side of that, we have the Sparkletastic Star Award for the Best Winterfest Resident. And again, there were so many amazing characters that I would have loved to honor with this award, but alas, I can only choose one, and I've decided to give this penguin to the one and the only Mr. Twister. He was one of the first faces that I saw when I walked through the gates of Winterfest this year. He was always such a delight to chat to, and I never did get around to trying a candy cane funnel cake, so I'm sorry I didn't keep my promise on that, but hopefully this award is a bit of a consolation. Our next award is the It's Serving Stunt Award for the most impressive stunt of the year. And for this one, I'm gonna have to give the penguin to Steve Goodtime from Fear Farm. I mean, who else is out here balancing on crates, shredding a guitar, and juggling flaming torches all at the same time? It was crazy to see, and I definitely had a great time watching Steve Goodtime. Next up is our Seasonal Stardom Award for the Best Seasonal Show. And I think this one's pretty obvious. I'm giving the award to Tinker's Toy Factory. This Winterfest show, at least at Canada's Wonderland, is always a highlight of the night. I mean, it combines musical theater with cirque and acrobatics, and this story is so sweet. It doesn't matter how old you are, I think everyone can be drawn in and connect to this story, and watching the show is always such a great time. Okay, these next few awards are very specific to haunts and haunt events, but we have the House of Horror Award for the Best Haunt Maze of 2023, and this one is going to go to Ghost in a Machine from Dorney Park. This house was so well done. I mean, from the facade to all the different effects that they used inside, like they used projection mapping, they used animatronics, and the actual jump scares that you got from the actors, so on point. They got me so many times. And I think the thing that puts this one above and beyond, aside from everything else, is the fact that the story of the maze integrates so well into the backstory of Iron Menace. So for those of you who don't know, that's the new dive coaster coming to Dorney Park this year. And this maze was basically an extension of that story. I mean, the integration and the synergy was flawless, and it made me even more excited for the attraction. But Iron Menace aside, this maze was perfectly executed. So if that was the best house, we also got to give an award to the best scare zone with our Realms of Terror Award. And this was another tough one because there's a number of different ways I could go with it. I could look at how scary the scare zone is, I could look at the set design, I could look at the character work, but ultimately, I am giving the penguin to Carnival at Canada's Wonderland. This scare zone has been a staple of Wonderland's haunt since the event's inception. It has such a great atmosphere, making good use of the already carnival-esque vibes of Elfenfest. But I think the thing that puts Carnival above and beyond is that it is home to some very iconic haunt characters like Calamity, who is our House Hero Award winner, but then you also have Buttons, Stylus the Clown, Flowers, Agatha, so many awesome clowns that I love to see and be terrified by every time I visit Haunt. So yeah, Carnival was, without a doubt, my favorite scare zone from this year. Alright, so our last kind of haunt space award here is the Ultimate Nightmare Award for the Best Haunt Event of 2023. And this year, the award goes to Fear Farm. This is a haunt that I've been wanting to get out to for so long, and in 2023, I finally made it happen, and it was so much fun. It had a great mix of indoor and outdoor mazes. The character work and the stories that they told with these mazes was so well done, and they had some pretty great jump scares in there as well. They got me so bad in just about every single maze that they had. Plus, you're pairing that with some great entertainment, such as Steve Goodtime. They had some good food options there, so I just had an amazing time here. And it goes to show that some of these smaller, lower budget haunts can still pack a pretty big punch. Okay, rounding up our entertainment category, we have the Celebrate the Season Award for the best seasonal or special event at a theme park. So because we've already honored the best haunt, I've decided to kind of disqualify any haunt-based events for this award, but I did consider things like food festivals and anniversary events or anything of that nature. But this year, the penguin goes to Worlds of Fun's 50th anniversary celebrations. Now again, this might be a bit of a controversial pick because Technically, the 50th anniversary was being celebrated for the entire season, but especially during the summer months, in the height of the celebration, they had this fantastic drone show. They did a special train show. They had lots of special food and drink offerings throughout the park, and they put a lot of work into the park, sprucing it up, improving it, adding to the theming, and I was just so happy to be able to visit this park during such an iconic milestone. It really was a party, and from what I heard from other people, it really elevated the park beyond any other experience that they normally do. Okay, and our last entertainment award is the Theme Park Tony for the best theme park show. And the penguin goes to Come See About Me from Cedar Point. I believe the show has been running at the park for a while now, but it was so well done. I mean, it was way better than I was expecting for a 30-minute theme park show. Like, I felt that if it wasn't for being so short, it could be the kind of caliber that you'd see on Broadway. It was so fun, and I love the story that they told, you know, being centered on this record shop in Motown, about finding the courage to pursue your passions and get the girl, that whole story. And I mean, the casting had such great diversity, which is always great to see. So yeah, this show is still running this year. Be sure to go see it because it is so good and a must-see for any theater fan. Okay, our next category of awards are for park operations, atmosphere, and experiences. And we're kicking that category off with the It Only Gets Better award for the biggest improvement to a park, which I am going to give to Adventureport at Kings Island. When I visited Kings Island back in 2023, this area of the park was really weird. It was kind of like a dead space between Action Zone and Coney Mall. Like, there really wasn't much going on. But then I come back in 2024 and they have two new flat rides, Cargo Loco and Soul Spin. They upgraded the food establishment with Enrique's, which had some great offerings and a good view over the lake. And then you have all the renovations that they did to Adventure Express, which was already a super fun ride, but they added more theming elements, added some special effects, expanded on the backstory, and fixed some of the effects that previously weren't working. And it just created this cohesive, fun attraction. And the land itself is so delightful and really brings some much needed life to that corner of the park. On the flip side of that, we have the biggest downgrade award for the most disappointing change. And this one I'm giving to Snake River Expedition at Cedar Point. When I first did this attraction in 2023, I loved it, and I felt like it was a good combination of some beloved Disney attractions like the Great Movie Ride and Jungle Cruise. Basically, it told this story of going out and trying to smuggle some stuff out on the river, but then you met this band of outlaws on the banks, and it culminated in this whole shootout that you had to narrowly escape. It was a really fun and exciting story. But then when you came back in 2024, they clearly had some budget decreases, because the only live actors that remained was their skipper, and I mean, they tried their best. I gotta give props to them for doing what they could, but then they changed the storyline to be like, oh, we're going down the river looking at some real estate. It was boring, I'm sorry, but who wants to go to a theme park to talk about real estate? Like, I don't get the logic there, and it was a complete disappointment, and it made me so sad. So hopefully the attraction can be restored to its former glory in 2024, but the 2023 version was a dud. Next up on the list is the Good Things Come in Small Packages award for the best small park. And I think this was an easy one for me to give. The penguin goes to Knoebels. This small park in Ellisburg, Pennsylvania is home to some very iconic attractions like Phoenix, Twister, Flying Turns, the Haunted Mansion, Black Diamond, and countless classic flat rides. It really does transport you back to the 50s and 60s, and it has this really nice atmosphere being nestled down in the valley. Most of the park is in the woods, and there's some great food at the park as well. It is just a great time. I've never had a bad experience at Knoebels thus far, and it is a park that I always look forward to visiting when I can. Next up is the Rides and Riz Award for the most charming park, and winning their second penguin for the evening is Worlds of Fun. I love this park way more than I ever thought I would. It has some excellent theming in all areas of the park. So for those of you who don't know, Worlds of Fun was originally based on Jules Verne's novel Around the World in 80 Days. So each area is like a different region or a different continent, and all the rides pretty well match that theme. Some of the roller coasters even go as far as having some station and lift audio.
Wait, this is the ET soundtrack.
And maybe this was only just introduced in 2023 with the 50th anniversary, but they had walk-around characters, they had little historical plaques all over the park, and although it's a Cedar Fair park, they seem to be really in touch with their history and where they came from as a small independent park. So yeah, and it was just beautiful. Like everywhere you looked, just was a feast for the eyes. So yeah, I was completely blown away, and I really hope that whatever changes they made for 2023 carry forwards into this year and beyond. Another not so great award here, the Your Mama Must Be Ashamed award for the most disappointing park goes to Lake Compounds. This is by far the worst park that I have ever been to so far, and we just did not have a great time. The operations were super slow, some of the employees were honestly kind of rude, and the only food that we ate here were the potato patch fries, and I have never tasted anything blander in my life. And although most of the rides aren't terrible, their star attraction, Boulder Dash, was a huge letdown, and their other big wooden roller coaster was down for refurbishment, which I really can't blame the park for, but still, it was just not a great park experience, and it's not a place that I'm itching to go back to anytime soon. Okay, going back to the more positive stuff, we have the Creme de la Crew Award for the best staff, and this penguin is going to go to Silver Dollar City. The thing I love about the Silver Dollar City employees is that you can tell that everyone has so much pride for the park. They love what they do, they really lean into the history and into the lore of the place, and you can have a conversation with everyone. They are just so friendly and they are so helpful, and the level of service just goes above and beyond. So Silver Dollar City, you're definitely doing things right over there, and I can't wait to go back, not only for the park itself, but for your amazing staff and crew. Next up is our It's Alive award for the best animatronic. And there is one that definitely stuck out above the rest, and that is the Indominus Rex at the Jurassic World exhibition in Mississauga. This animatronic was huge and so fluid and so lifelike that it actually made me a little nervous. Like, it drew me in and suspended my disbelief that when you're staring at this thing, you like shuffle back in fear because it is so massive and so impressive, and I was just geeking out the entire time. Next up is the I'm Not a Karen, but Can I Speak to Your Manager award for the worst operations. And this one goes to Six Flags New England. Mind you, some of the roller coasters were running really well, like Superman the Ride and Wicked Cyclone, but the reason why I'm giving this park this award is because of one attraction in particular, and that is the Thunderbolt. The day we visited this park, the staff were having these side conversations with other employees. They were checking restraints while drinking a Slurpee and kind of half doing the job. We saw one person give the all clear signal without even looking behind them. Like, how do you know? It's one thing for operations to be slow, but what we saw at the Thunderbolt was downright unsafe and unprofessional, and it was just a bad look. Don't get me wrong, theme park employees don't have it easy. They get paid minimum wage to be out in the heat, and they have to deal with rude customers. So again, I can give a little grace, but safety is something that should never be compromised. Next up is the A Whole New World award for the best themed area, and I've been going back and forth on who to give this award to, but I think I'm gonna give the penguin to Thanksgiving at Holiday World. First of all, the idea of theming a land to a holiday is pretty genius in and of itself, so Holiday World as a whole could be deserving of this award, but I'm singling out Thanksgiving because it has such a fun collection of attractions that all work perfectly into the theme of Thanksgiving. You have the Turkey Whirl, you have the Crow's Nest, you have Gobbler's Getaway, the Voyage, and of course, the star attraction of the park, in my opinion at least, Thunderbird. And I think the thing that really puts the land over the top is the Plymouth Rock Cafe, where you can get a full-on turkey dinner in the middle of the theme park. Like, that is so cool and so fun to me. So even though Thanksgiving may not be the most immersive or high production value land, I think it is deserving of this award just because it gives off such a fun vibe. And even thinking back on it now, it makes me chuckle. All right, our final award in the Parks, Atmosphere, and Experiences category is Parker's Park Pick Award for the best overall park. Now, I got to visit some pretty amazing parks this year, but there is one that definitely rose above the rest. So the Penguin goes to Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. This place just is amazing in every way. It really does feel like a living, breathing city. Like everything about it just comes alive with character and atmosphere. You have a pretty good mix of attractions, of course, with Outlaw Run, Time Traveler, Fire in the Hole, Mystic River Falls, and I mean, you'll also have the cave tour there. But yes, this is a fantastic park. It is world class, and I am itching to go back because it is everything that I want from a park. All right, we just have a couple more categories to get through, and this next one is all about rides and roller coasters. The Child at Heart Award for the best kitty credit goes to Snoopy's Racing Railway at Canada's Wonderland. This ride is so fun and so cute. Built by Art of Engineering, it starts out with a launch and then it goes through some fun little themed elements. You're going through Lucy's Saloon, you see Woodstock pop in and out all over the place. It is just a fun time, and I'm so glad that I finally got to ride it back in September at Roller Coasters A. It was so hard for me to watch it and not be able to ride it for the rest of the season. But if you ever get a chance, please take it and please ride this ride because it's a fun time. Next, we have the I Don't Get It Award for the most overhyped attraction. And winning another Penguin for Lake Compounds is Boulder Dash. This wooden roller coaster used to be very highly rated and people spoke very highly of it, and it was basically the reason why we went to Lake Compounds in the first place, but it turned out to be such a disappointment. It was so rough, and the first part of the ride recently got retrofitted with Titan Track, which I've never been a big fan of, but it made that first drop way too smooth, completely killed the first half, and then once you hit the regular wooden track again, it was downright awful. So yeah, the combination of those changes and maybe some age have really ruined this coaster, so it's not worth the hype, and in my opinion, not worth the trip to Lake Compounds.
Bad. Peace is better than this.
Oh!
Yes, it is.
Next up, we have the Wait a Damn Minute Award for the best queue. And this year, the Penguin goes to Zambezi Zinger. Although Zambezi Zinger wasn't my favorite coaster that I experienced this year, what I really appreciated about it was the theme, and that really started with the queue because you had all these posters and maps that really set up the story of going out on a safari tour out in the savannah, and it really brought you into that world and immersed you into that environment so that by the time you got to the station, you really felt like you were boarding a safari truck, but in coaster form, obviously. Not only that, but the queue also offered some pretty nice visuals of the coaster itself going over the track, so the story and the visuals together just made for a very fun queuing experience. Next up is the Shot in the Dark Award for the best dark ride or funhouse attraction. And this year I am giving that distinction to the Haunted Mansion at Knoebels, which also celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2023. But this ride is so cool, using a great mix of old school and modern effects, and it even has some good jump scares that I wasn't expecting. Like, dark rides usually don't get to me all that much, but this one actually did, and it is so fun and a must do every time you visit Knoebels. Our next award is the Thrill Warrior Award for the most thrilling attraction. And again, this is one that I could have gone a number of different ways with. I had considered Kingdom Ka, I considered Catwoman's Whip, but there was one ride that was just too thrilling and too iconic not to honor. So this year, the Penguin goes to the Sky Coaster at Indiana Beach. Now, this wasn't my first Sky Coaster. I did one in 2022 at Kings Island, but they still make me so nervous. I mean, the fact that you gotta pull that ripcord that sends you into that free fall plunge, it is just so mind-racking and really got the heart pumping. And if you've seen the videos on social media, I screamed bloody murder because it is terrifying, but also awesome. I always end up loving them, but they are the scariest things you will ever do at a park. Next up, we have the Casey Jr. Award for the best train ride, and you guys are gonna come for me for this one, but I am going to give the Penguin to the Worlds of Fun Railroad. I know, people are probably screaming at me thinking, why didn't you give it to Silver Dollar City? And don't get me wrong, I love the Silver Dollar City train. I think it is top notch, but I'm giving it to Worlds of Fun because they really surprised me. Because when I got on it, I just thought it was going to be a generic, run-of-the-mill train ride, but no. This year they actually incorporated a pretty good train show, and I actually liked their train show a little more. I don't know, I just found it to be a little more entertaining and a little more fun, so I know I'm probably spewing blasphemy at this point, but this is my award show, I do what I want, and I'm giving the Penguin to Worlds of Fun. Alrighty, next up we have the Worth the Money Award for the Best Upcharge Experience. And this year, the Penguin goes to Dr. Frankenstein's Haunted Castle at Indiana Beach, which is hands down the best $3 I've ever spent at a theme park. This walkthrough attraction takes you past different scenes of animatronics with different little spooks, and like you're winding through this maze at some point, and then it all culminates with this view of this animatronic rock band in this big castle chamber. It is so cool and so fun, and if you're a fan of old school attractions and animatronics like myself, you'll love it. It is such a good time, and again, best $3 I've ever spent at a park. Next is the Most PMF Worthy Credit Award for the roughest attraction I experienced this year, and winning their second Penguin of the night is Boulder Dash. And listen, I think there might be some other rides out there that I experienced this year that technically were rougher than Boulder Dash, but the reason why I think it's so deserving of this award is because of that jarring transition from Titan Track to the regular wood. If you've never experienced Titan Track, it is the most buttery smooth experience you'll ever have. It actually takes away so much character, and I find it super boring. So when you start a ride with that, it kind of sets you up for failure. Now when you're transferred over to the wood, it is unexpected, you cannot brace for it whatsoever, and the ride is starting to show its age. It is shaky, it is rough, it is not a good time. So Boulder Dash, I'm sorry, pain means fun, but you were in fact a painful ride. Next up is our Flat Out Awesome Award for Best New Flat Rider 2023. And I'm giving this Penguin to X-Drive, which I got to experience when it made its debut at the Western Fair in London, Ontario. This flat ride is so crazy, featuring some insane like turns and inversions, and it lifts you pretty high up in the air, and it also has a very impressive lighting package, making it so mesmerizing to look at, especially at night. X-Drive is part of a traveling midway called North American Midways, which also provides the rides for the Canadian National Exhibition in Toronto, so some of my GTA friends might have experienced X-Drive when it was at the CNE this year. So that was our best new flat ride of the year, but our best overall flat ride is going to be honored with our Ultimate Scream Machine Award, and I'm giving it to Adirondack Outlaw at Six Flags Great Escape. This is a Vomitron attraction, which is basically this big arm featuring a set of 8 seats on either end, and it spins and inverts you, and it is so fast and so disorienting and very, very scary. Like, this ride was definitely a runner-up for our Thrill Warrior Award, but it is a fun time, and it offers some amazing views of the Adirondack Mountains. I also got to ride its clone Catwoman's Whip at Six Flags St. Louis, but the views offered by the one at Six Flags Great Escape definitely put Adirondack Outlaw above and beyond. Already, our last 4 awards in this category are all about the coasters, and we're starting with the Mountain Mayhem Award for the Best Alpine Coaster. This year, I got to experience all of the Alpine coasters in the Branson, Missouri area, but there's one that definitely rose to the top for me, and that was the Copperhead Mountain Coaster. Although it isn't actually the tallest in the area, it is the most fun in my opinion, featuring some nice, fast transitions, and it's unique because you actually start on top of the mountain and wind your way down and then get a nice relaxing lift back up to the top. Next up is our Coasting to the Top Award for the Best New Roller Coaster 2023, and this year the Penguin goes to Wildcats Revenge at Hershey Park. This RMC hybrid is so much fun. It has some excellent pacing and a great mix of events. Lots of people have said that it's kind of like a greatest hits of RMC, and I agree. I think it's a nearly perfect ride, and it is a perfect fit for Hershey Park. Alright, so these last 2 awards are what I consider to be the big ones of the night, and we're gonna start off with the Stunning Splinters Award for the Best Wooden Roller Coaster, and the Penguin goes to Ravine Flyer II at Waldemere. This wooden coaster is so out of control and insane, but at the same time, it isn't overly rough. I wouldn't consider it to be a PMF credit, but it is so fun. I would actually best describe it as the wooden version of Sky Rush, especially during that ending kind of like spaghetti bowl area. Now this coaster is really famous because it actually jumps over the highway, which is such a unique element, and I mean that moment definitely creates a very strong pop of airtime. It is such a fun ride overall, and totally worth going to Waldemere for. And finally, our last award in the Rides and Roller Coasters category is the Steel Superstar Award for the best steel coaster. And winning yet another penguin for the night is Wildcat's Revenge at Hershey Park. Yes, Wildcat's Revenge has earned a spot as my #1 coaster overall. It is so fun, and I'm just very glad that I get to honor it with this award today. Come on, Kitty's Revenge. All right, we are almost through all of our awards of the night, but before I move on to the last category, I just want to share some fast stats about some of the things I've been able to accomplish in 2023. So, I've uploaded a total of 82 videos, gained 311 subscribers, got 65,000 views across all of my videos, and reached a total of 3,410 watch hours. All of these numbers are surpassing any other record that I achieved in previous years, which is just crazy to me. Like, this was a really good year for the channel. The most viewed video of the year was my Halloween Haunt 2023 at Canada's Wonderland vlog and review, which got a total of 2,894 views. Now, my haunt vlogs have always done really well, but this one is the most viewed haunt vlog that I've ever done. And it's also my 9th most viewed video on the channel overall. Across all videos, over all the time I've been doing the channel, this one ended up in the 9th place. And then for shorts, my Halloween Haunt is now open at Canada's Wonderland short, ended up at #1 for the year with 2,801 views. Now, I've always maintained that I don't care about the numbers, and that's true because I'm not out here looking to be the most popular creator out there, and it doesn't make too much difference to me whether a video gets 100 views or 100,000 views. But I do find stats very interesting, and I have to admit, I'm very proud of what I've been able to do over the past year. This is by far the most successful year I've ever had on the channel, not to mention the fact that I've finally reached my goal of 1,000 subscribers, something that I've been working towards for so many years now. So 2023, what an amazing year. And that brings us to our final category of the night. And these ones are more about the channel itself, like videos and any particular moments. So let's jump right into it. Let's bring this home, starting with the Community Theater Award for the best skit. And again, I had so many good skits this year. I had so much fun creating new characters and just playing around. Like, I'm a theater kid at heart, so I love that I can bring that aspect of myself into what is otherwise a vlog dedicated to theme park. But the penguin goes to Witch Tilda's Return, which was the skit at the very beginning of my Halloween's vlog and review. Now, Witch Tilda is one of the new characters that I introduced this year, and I had so much fun playing around with her. But with this skit, I got to continue with the story that I set up in my Halloween Haunt vlogs. So, you know, I got to create an entire arc for this character and see her develop from skit to skit. And with this one, I also got to play, like, Mr. Midnight, the big mascot from Cedar Point. I got to make fun of Cedar Point fanboys a little bit. And I also did a little spoof on Hocus Pocus as well. You know, I did the whole I'll cast a spell on you song, and it was just so fun, and I think a lot of you enjoyed that one as well. Next up is the What's Going On Queer Award for the gayest moment of 2023. And this penguin goes to the Twinks on Ropes from Phantom Theater at Kings Island. Okay, this needs a bit of an explanation because obviously I haven't put out my Kings Island vlog from last year yet. It's coming, I promise. But anyways, this was from when Scott and I went to Kings Island together, and whenever Scott and I are together, we're like the ducks from the Aristocats. I don't know if anyone's gonna get that reference, but just roll with it. We're just so giggly and gossipy and chaotic. Like, we always have a good time. But anyways, we went to see the Phantom Theater show, which is pretty gay in and of itself. So for those of you who don't know, that show is actually referencing an old dark ride that Kings Island had. But anyways, there are these two characters, and they kind of gave off this vibe of like, are you brothers, roommates, or dating? I can't tell. But anyways, there's this part of the show where they did this whole like rope dance routine. I'm not sure what the technical term is, but it's so cool, and obviously it requires so much talent and skill. But I don't know which one of us it was, but we just turned to each other and we're like, oh my gosh, they're twinks on ropes. And in the moment, we thought it was the funniest thing ever. Like, it's so stupid looking back on it, but it's now our inside joke that we bring up like all the time. So, Gay's moment of the year, twinks on ropes. Our next moment is the most magical moment of the year, and this was another one that I had a bit of trouble deciding on because I had so many amazing moments throughout the year. And winning yet another penguin for the night, and this time for something good, is my night ride on Boulder Dash at Lake Compounds. Hold on a second, did I just spend the whole show like bringing this ride down? Yes, and I stand by everything I said, but, and I don't know the science behind it, but for some reason, the night ride was so much more enjoyable. Maybe it was just the insanity and the chaos of hurtling through the woods that just made you forget about the discomfort that you got in the daytime, but something about that night ride was so much more enjoyable and so much more tolerable. But the reason why I'm giving it the most magical moments award is because when we got back into the station, we were talking to some of the ride-offs and you know, they found out that we were from Canada and we were coming from a long ways away. So the one guy is just like, you know what? Just hold tight for a moment. So all of the other guests left the train, and out of nowhere, all of these employees just came into the station, all of these ride-offs. So I guess they do a last ride of the night for them, but we were actually allowed to stay on and join them. So not only did we get the last public ride of the night, but we truly got the last ride of the night exclusively with the employees. And it was so, I mean, magical. Like, it was so nice of the ride-off to let us join them, and it was just an awesome experience. And again, that night ride, insane. So yeah, even though Lake Compounds is not a great park overall, this moment definitely put a little sweet spin on the night. Yeah, it just allowed us to end the day and leave the park on a high note. All right, and we made it to our final award of the evening, and this is a big one. This is the video of the year. And for this one, I'm not actually going to be the one choosing it. I decided to turn it over to you and let you guys vote on which video was your favorite from the year. So earlier in the week, I set up a poll with 4 nominees for you to choose the video of the year. And your nominees were the Dollywood Vlog and Review, the Kings Island Vlog and Review, Part 1.
And I will not stand any slander against the shed.
I have slander against the shed.
Cancelled. This is a very Ohio thing.
Norfolk County Fair 2023 Vlog and Review.
Duck. Duck. Goose.
And Halloween Haunt 2023 at Canada's Wonderland. Wait, please!
Hi, Buttons.
I know you.
Yes, you should. We're already seeing some characters. Hello again.
And you're still not bowing. Wow. That's more like it. And now it is hammer time.
I received a lot of votes and a lot of the nominees were pretty neck and neck for most of the day, but ultimately, the penguin for video of the year goes to the Dollywood Vlog and Review. I honestly have to say, this is probably my favorite video that I put out last year because it is just so fun and so iconic. I mean, I love Dollywood, just like Silver Dollar City. It is such a fun park that is perfectly executed. But with this video, I got to highlight so many different aspects of the park, from the rides to Craftsman's Valley to some of the Dolly Parton type of things. The other thing that makes this vlog so special is that I was joined by my fiance Michael, and he doesn't always come on my adventures with me, so to have him join me for this one was just so special and so meaningful for me. And you know, we kind of got to share some fun moments, like, you know, doing the gem mining and sharing cinnamon bread and stuff like that. But I think the thing that puts this vlog above and beyond is the fact that we got to see the one and only Dolly Parton, not once, not twice, but 3 times throughout the day. So she was doing some filming for her new Christmas special, and as she was going in between the chapel where she was doing some filming and backstage, she actually rode by us in a golf cart, so we got to wave and say hello to her. Like, obviously we didn't get to stop and have a proper conversation, but the fact that we got to see her and say hi was so cool. And it's funny because on the way there we were like, oh my god, wouldn't it be so funny if we saw Dolly Parton? Ha ha ha. But little did we know, it actually happened. So yes, I love that video so much, and I'm glad to see that you guys love it as well. And with that, that's a wrap on our first annual Penguin Awards. I hope you guys had as much fun watching it as I did creating it. Oh, and by the way, I'm sure you've noticed this, but a lot of the awards I've given out are from videos that haven't actually been released yet. I have a lot of adventures that I did last summer that I'm still working on, so I promise they're coming. So if there's something that I gave an award for that you're like, I don't remember that, I promise it's coming. Stay tuned. And in the meantime, if you aren't already, please consider becoming a subscriber so you can stay in the know about all of my upcoming videos, whether they be from past adventures or adventures yet to come in 2024. You can also find more of me on social media. I'm at AWP Parker on Instagram, Threads, and X, and at Adventures with Parker on TikTok and Facebook. As always, big shout out to my patrons for all the extra support you guys give me. Honestly, you guys deserve an award all on your own. I really couldn't keep up doing what I do on the channel without you guys. And if you want to learn how to support the channel for as little as $2 a month in exchange for some sweet perks, you can find out more by visiting patreon.com/AWParker. Once again, thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, let the adventures begin! Wait. You didn't think I forgot about the award for the best end credit scene, did you? Well, the penguin goes to the Eras Tour vlog for this iconic moment.
You are tossing me in the garbage!